Okay. We should be live inside of the online health and coaches community, which is super cool. If anybody doesn't know who I am, of course, Rob, Boss Coaches. How dare you not know who I am? I'm joking. I don't expect you to know who I am. It's perfectly fine. If you're in this group and you have never seen me before, hello. If you've never seen this guy before, then hello on his behalf. This is Tom, who is one of our amazing platinum clients. Now, before we dive in and ask Tom how he's been able to do what he's done with his business, first of all, I need you guys to drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me and you can see me. If you can hear me and see me, drop a 1 in the chat. Just humor me and let me know, because it's been known before where I've done some lives inside the group and I'm talking away and nobody can hear a thing I'm saying. So if you guys can humor me and just let me know that you can hear me and you can see me with a little 1 in the chat, and we'll fire forward. And we're going to ask Tom some pressing questions tonight and find out what he's been up to, what his secrets are. And let's see what dirt you can dish up on this guy in terms of what he's been doing. How has he been able to jump from being a one-to-one PT to still doing that, but also to have an online presence as well and hitting 10K months? How's he been able to do that? So you guys can ask any questions that you want in the chat. Feel free to ask any questions you want. So again, just to recap, for anybody who doesn't know, this is Tom Harris, who is one of our platinum clients. I'm going to ask Tom some questions and he's just going to share the journey and see what's been happening. We've seen lots of each other today because we had our one-to-one call like we have every week. We then had our platinum group call. So we've been with each other 2 hours today. And you live in Essex and I live in Scotland. So but still we were 2 hours together. How the heck are you, man?
I'm good, man. Yeah, we've had a day. It's been cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing good. I've had a very busy day, but it's been cool.
Nice, man. Nice. Let's dive into this. Let's try and share as much as we can, because as we go live here inside the online health and fitness coaches community, I think it's important for anybody who's watching this, whether it's live or on the replay, comment #live if you're watching live, #replay if you're watching replay. It's probably worth just finding out. There's a lot of people inside this group who are maybe wanting to do what you've done, and they just have no idea how to do it. They've probably got a skill set, whether it's in the health or the fitness industry. They maybe have a studio, a boot camp, a clinic. They're working in a gym, they own a gym, whatever it may be. And they just don't know how to make that transition, whether it's full-time or part-time or side hustle or anything in between. So before you and I first met, you can maybe remind me actually, when was that? Because I struggle with dates. When was it? And how did we meet? So like a triple barrel question here. Roughly when was it? How did we meet? And what was going on for you at that time?
So yeah, my memory, it's been a while now, but I believe that I first came into contact with some of your like free stuff that you were giving away about online coaching, online training, building a better business online. And I think I sort of got access to some of your free stuff. And then I think we properly met was probably, I think it was the end of September 2021. Yeah, and I think it was end of September, and I joined Boss Coaches in October 2021.
2021, was it? Wow. So that's like over a year ago. Like that doesn't seem that, wow, that's incredible.
I know, the years, time's flown, but time flies when you're having fun, right? So it's been cool.
Totally. So first of all, that's a huge honor, the fact that you've stayed with us so long. So thank you for trusting in us, number one. Now let's talk about number two. Where were you when we first met? What was going on with your business? What were you doing? What were the struggles?
So up to sort of COVID, I actually ran a very good personal training business, one-to-one business. Biggest problem with it was I'd hit a ceiling. There was no really place to grow. I was doing anywhere between 42 and 45 sessions a week, one-to-one, and in a gym. And like, I love my job. I love coaching people. I love training people, but I was shattered. And, you know, in 2020, I I was at the beginning of 2020. I had my second child. He was 7 months old at that point. And obviously I was trying to spend a lot more time with family at the same time. But then COVID hit. And whilst I felt very, very lucky that I managed to retain 70% and I took a lot of that business online, there was still that struggle and that uneasiness of not knowing what was going to happen. And obviously we were in and out of lockdowns, and then we were in tears, and then we could go places, we couldn't go places. And, you know, when it got to when we got back to some sort of normality, business still wasn't quite the same. It was okay. I was managing, I was able to have some time off to spend with my kids, but it just wasn't where I kind of wanted it to be. And sort of towards the end of 2021, when we first engaged, like when we first got in contact, when we first started speaking, I was still looking. I've been looking for online training as another way to scale, expand, since like 2016. But things just weren't working. And so, yeah, I still had that belief that I could grow, I could get bigger, I could do more with where I currently was and with more people. And then that's kind of like where you guys came along in 2021.
Yeah, that's interesting for you to just listen to you speak about that, because it's something that I can relate to a lot as well. When I used to work in gyms, manage gyms, own gyms, body transformation coach. Nikki Faldo is in the house tonight, by the way, dropping some love. And by the way, guys, if you are watching live, feel free to smash that love heart button. Give Tom some love. Give him some love. It's really nice to just share love with people. Yeah. Nikki's one of our superstar clients. What is it?
I said, hey, Nikki.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really interesting because I can relate to what you said, where, you know, you were doing all these hours as a one-to-one PT, because as a PT, that's what we're chasing. We want more clients. We want to get busier. But, and correct me if you felt different. I know for me, I felt like I chased the thing that I wanted. I got the thing that I wanted, which was more clients, more revenue, which was fantastic. And then I turned around in this sort of like metaphorical corner and was like, but I have a wife, but I have kids, but I don't have a life. And I don't really have much of a life with them. I like doing this, but I like them as well. How can I try and get them to balance? Yeah,
and that, you know what, that's pretty much spot on. I mean, I earned, even at that point, very well for a PT. I was doing 5K months consistently, and you know, in some aspects, I was supporting my family because my wife wasn't working for a period of the time before, just before and during COVID. But yeah, I was burnt out to a degree, and I just couldn't have a lot of time that I wanted. And also I was getting annoyed with myself and sort of feeling down because I saw friends going out and doing social things. My wife was doing, pre-COVID, was doing social things with her work. And, you know, whilst I wasn't like jealous of it, but at the same time, I was a little bit envious of wanting to be able to do the social things as well. Right. And then, of course, we had a family. So wanting to actually spend time with those. And that's been one of the really great things over the last couple of years as well.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that. If you're watching, like, let us know, like, drop a 2 in the chat, drop a number 2 in the chat. If you can relate to that, of being busy and getting the very thing that you asked for and then going, oh shit, I wanted this, but now I feel a little bit stuck when people are going out and doing stuff and everything else. So I can totally relate to that, man. So I think when we met, you, like, this wasn't your first gig in terms of like investing in yourself. You're smart, number one, because you recognized that you were looking for other people that had the shortcuts, that had already done this, and you were already investing in yourself to try and make this work. So before you'd even met us, you'd already invested in coaching programs, right?
Yeah, 100%. Quite a few actually as well.
Right.
Quite a few. And a lot of them always taught me something. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's safe to say none of them worked how I wanted it to.
Okay.
At the same time. I took bits from each thing that I've ever done, and actually I'm still using some of those things even within everything that you've taught me in the last year. But all of those coaching programs previous, to do with online, I had a mentor for PT for a good year and a half back in like 2015, 2016, and he was a big factor in helping me get to 5K months as a PT. But that's not the online thing that I wanted. Every coaching program that I've done, and I've done like quite a few, I've spent a lot of money on previous coaching programs, never ever got me to the result that I wanted to. And it kind of did leave me feeling like, I want to do this. I feel like I'm capable of doing it, but it's just not happening. And I didn't really know why it wasn't happening.
And this brings us to our conversation when we spoke, and we had a few conversations, but I can remember chatting with you, and I can remember getting the impression from you, you didn't say it in so many words, but I got the impression from you where you were like, your demeanor, if you like, and your manner was, I've done coaching programs before, almost like, why is this going to be any different? Like, I've seen it. Why is it going to be any different? And I was kind of like, yeah, I know. Like, and why should you trust us? You know, because we could just be the same as everybody else. Because everybody promises to be offering something different and getting better results. And every coach is the best coach out there, right? We see it with all the gurus that are messaging us all every single day. I get them to this day. People wanting to make me a gazillion bucks, you know, like we all get them. So I can remember you almost being a little bit skeptical, but at the same time open to learning. But there was a bit of a hurdle, wasn't there? Where you were like, well, is this going to work? Is it not going to work? I don't know, can you remember anything more about that and like how we got started? Like, what was the thing for you that got you over it and said, okay, I'm ready to commit. I'm ready to invest in a new coach that you didn't even know up in Scotland, somewhere that you know nothing about. What was that thing that gave you the switch to say, okay, I'm ready?
Yeah, I mean, I was ready to invest. I'm always ready to invest in myself. The amount of courses I've done over the years, you know, is testament to that as well. But I've invested in coaching programs before. I was skeptical because I did have that genuine thing of, I think this is like my last shot at investing big time in something, because I'd spent so much money before, like thousands and thousands of pounds. And yeah, I was very, very skeptical about it. Like, this was like my last shot at really kind of having the money to invest in it. And but then having that worry of like, is it just going to lead me down a similar path to what I'd done before? And I remember what was good when I was chatting to you, and I do remember like quite a few bits about our first conversation on that call. And what was great was just you had a great ability of just putting me at ease and making me feel welcome, making me feel comfortable, understanding and having the empathy with where I've been before and sort of what, you know, the thing I was in. And I think what was great that helped me sort of go all in again for this was the fact that we worked out a way to get started. And it wasn't just a case of, it didn't feel like it was just like, I'm going to take your money, you're going to
give me all your money.
Yeah, it didn't feel like that. It never, ever felt like that. It felt like, I think this guy really actually wants to help me. This sounds pretty cool. Like, I think, okay. And because you made it a lot easier and accessible to get started, in a way where I was in control of the situation as well. It was a mutual investment where, you know, yeah, maybe I put a hurdle in of like, well, come on then, prove that you're different from other coaching programs. But it just felt easy. It felt like it was because we worked out a way to get into the program that was sort of tipped me like, okay, this could be a better solution.
Yeah, that makes sense. Victoria Carol Gravini is in the house tonight. Victoria, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that you said that, because I think we all know, we've all spoke to coaches and been on triage calls, sales calls, care calls, whatever you want to call them, we've all been on them where we're like, the person that's trying to sell us is always be like, cash collect as much as you can, because like we've got to cash collect as much as we can for the business and whatever else. And like, yeah, I think you maybe seen a difference in how we done it. Like, it's why we call our calls, and now we teach you guys as clients to take care calls, not sales calls, because you get completely detached from the sales process. It's not about whether you make a new sale or not. It's about whether you can genuinely help the person. And obviously that's the way we came across for you, which is really nice to know. So we started working together and you joined Boss Coaches Elite, our 6-month mentorship program. And what month was this? This was November, right? 21.
Late October. Late October.
Okay. Yeah. So during that program, you very quickly, I want to say it was like, was it even 3 months in? You very quickly went from typically what happened 2 months. So typically what happens for anybody who's watching this, we have 2 programs. We have a 6-month mentorship, which is our elite mentorship. We then, if our clients are getting good enough results, they will get invited to our 12-month platinum mastermind. Now, it's an invite only. You can only be accepted by us as the coaches, but also the other members of Platinum. So we actually go ask them, and you have to be making enough revenue and actually be good enough at what you do at the same time. So you were 2 months, let me get this right. You were 2 months into the elite program, and you're like, I think I should be like moving into Platinum. So we had a conversation. I can remember having a conversation.
New Year's Eve.
Right. Was it New Year's Eve? Wow.
Yeah, I signed up on the 1st. And it was
okay, wow, that's crazy. I didn't even know that. I can remember having the conversation with you and thinking, this guy's only 2 months in. I don't know if this is going to be too soon for him right now. But since then, talk about the results. What results have you got, regardless of what program it was? What results have you got since we started working closer together?
Well, they've been brilliant. I mean, the thing I think, like, yeah, I should have maybe been conventional and gone the 6 months, and then and there was a part of me that actually did think about that in between that Christmas and New Year, when you put out the offer of Platinum. But I think within the first week of being in Boss Coaches, I made a £1,700 sale. That was then followed by another 1K sale about a week later after that. And you see, even in that, it proved to me that the tactics, the strategies that you were helping us put in place were working.
So you'd sold £2,700 in like 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Cool. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So, that was pretty wicked. And then, that followed on into the new year with similar numbers of sales as well.
Yeah.
And I think that what sort of made me go to Platinum was the fact that I was like, no, I want more. I want to be part of this more. I felt what was brilliant was I felt comfortable. I felt happy. I felt like that there was a better, clear direction with how to do everything online that I had been missing. But what I really liked about the Platinum was it was the access to the higher level of coaching and the one-to-one coaching that came with it, which has been invaluable, absolutely invaluable. But then I had a sort of bumpy start to 2022, but I always had the belief that I was going in the right direction. And then when we got to July and August, they were the first 2 10K plus months that I did. And again, it just completely justified the whole investment in itself into the program.
Yeah.
And but it also just reinforced the belief that I could do it. And I think we spoke about this earlier in our one-to-one call, that actually my projection for this month by halfway is a good amount on that way to another 10K month. So hopefully that will bear fruit again for this month. But yeah, in terms of results, much more comfortable at delivering higher ticket programs, much more competent and confident in how I do my my posting, all my content, my engagement with people and how I talk to them.
Well, tell us about that, if that's okay. If we can be, and tell me to piss off if you don't want to share your secrets, but tell us, right, there's people watching. What are you doing, like as an overview, what are you doing that's making it easier for you to be able to build an online business? Are you running paid ads? Are you sending people to funnels? Do you have a website? Like, what's going on?
So I don't have a website. I had one very, very briefly a few years ago, but I just I don't need that. I don't need a website, which sounds a bit crazy, but I've managed this far without one, so there's no need one. In terms of like, this is just a quick note. This is the most consistent that I have ever been in this whole year. A lot of this is down to the accountability of the program, and obviously being surrounded by an amazing group of people who are working in a similar level, trying to work in a similar higher level, and having the coaching and the support. But this is by far, I was never consistent with posting it because I just didn't quite get how important that was in terms of the engagement and building the audience and having the right content in front of people. And that's been kind of one of the biggest things that, if we were to look at an overview, like, this is the most consistent I've ever been with posting my content and then building an audience organically, engaging on their content as well as having my own content, and then seeing that through to getting into conversations, which is essentially sort of the spine of how it's been taught to me over the last year. Paid ads, not yet. I've done them a long time ago in the past, but to be quite honest with you, I've been doing them wrong. And obviously, based on like our conversations in our one-to-ones and stuff, then paid ads are going to be coming this year, which which I'm really excited about, because this is only going to hopefully accelerate my audience growth, get me in front of more people, and then if I can carry on that consistency, but yeah, with my content and then my posting and then my general messaging to people. I mean, even to a point where just before Christmas I went away on holiday, but I planned my whole post strategy before I went away, so it was a simple copy and paste, and then straight out it went, and I still enjoyed my holiday, which was another big thing. So many times my wife is like, can you get off your phone, can you stop doing this? But it wasn't a case, because I had everything planned out, just did it, fun, enjoyed the rest of my holiday, it was cool. But in doing that, actually being that consistent with what I was doing and the way that I've been taught to do it, the first time, I've been a PT and a coach now since 2009. First time in all that time I made nearly 2K of sales in between Christmas and New Year, which I have never done before.
Wow, there you go. Victoria's saying in the chat, she's saying smart. Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it takes smarts to be like that. So like, here's a question, right? If I'm somebody in the group and I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking, okay, here's this guy, he's talking about 10K months online and whatever else. In my head, I'm thinking online coaching business. So like deliverables, do you have your Zoom screen set up, and are you delivering exercise classes to people, or like, is that how it works?
Do you know what? I actually have a very hybrid model of doing what I do. For example, I have one guy who I've been coaching for a year. I have not personal trained him once. We have a one-to-one coaching call every week, and hopefully, if he's on track with his whole program and his accountability and everything, he should hit 5 stone weight loss at the end of this month.
And you've not been PT'ing him?
And I have not PT'd him once. I have actually sat in front of us, just like we are right now, and I've coached him through his mindset, keeping him accountable, any nutrition that he needs help with. I've gone through his food diaries with him on these calls. I've gone through if he's had any issues with his exercise program.
So you're not counting his reps, you're not standing watching him do exercise. No. For anybody who's watching, that's the most important part of this conversation. The most important part, just to reiterate, Tom is not standing counting repetitions. Let me tell you something, guys, and like maybe you'll think the same here, Tom. When we become practitioners of our skill set, and whatever that may be in a health or a fitness setting, we We just want to do everything hands-on in the beginning. But there's a problem with that. We start trading time for money. And then we hit the glass ceiling. We can't make any more because we've traded all of our time. The only way that we can do it is to work more or to charge more. And there's a ceiling on both of those. So how do we get around it? What Tom's talking about here is building a leverage-based program that people can follow where he doesn't have to be there. You see, Tom's smart, like what Victoria said, Tom's smart. Tom understands that his clients don't have a cheeseburger problem. They don't have a that squat's not good enough problem. They don't have that stuff going on. What they have is a habits problem and an accountability problem. And for most of you right now, that's what your clients need help with. That is an online coaching program. We create and devise the program, like what you've done, Tom, but we hold them accountable. And I mean, how many times have you PT'd somebody in a gym where when they're in the gym, that 1 hour, everything's hunky-dory. It's the 23 hours that you don't see them that they're doing all of the damage, right? And the same if you're a health practitioner, you're helping people get out of pain or fix chronic conditions or whatever else. It's the things that they're doing when they're not in your care is what needs to be addressed. And this is what your program addresses, right?
Yeah. And like I said, like with him, that client in particular, it's been one hell of a year. And he had a little dip at Christmas, but actually it was only £2, which is absolutely, I said that was a win. I actually had a coaching call with him today. And I said that was a win because, you know, some people completely, you know, but, you know, that's it. It's habits and it's the accountability and it's the behavior changes that are the key kind of differences. Now, I do still train people on a one-to-one basis. And like I said, I do a hybrid kind of model where I do a mixture of coaching, just like I explained, coaching via Zoom, or I've got I'm pointing out there because my big screen's up there, or I actually do train people one-to-one in person. But my programs now, and I've had to explain this to clients at times as well, is you're not paying me by the hour. Mm-hmm. If you want that, fine, but I'm not going to do that. You're paying me for the program and the result and what the program gives you, keeping you on track and accountable and changing things that are outside of the 23 hours of the hour session that I do with them. So, and that's the biggest change, one of the biggest changes to the way I program.
So you're charging per result rather than per session?
Yeah.
Yes. So they're paying for your knowledge and your accountability and your experience rather than your 1 hour time standing there watching them.
Yeah.
It's huge. That's a massive shift for anybody who's watching this who needs to understand what does the online program look like and how do you deliver it? There's more intricacies involved, of course, but Tom's now an expert in his field of how many years now?
Since 2000, so 13 years.
Right, 13 years, right? You can still do that stuff, but your service extends beyond that. That's cool, man. It's cool. It's a good insight for everybody who's watching. So guys, drop some love in again for Tom if that's been valuable, because he didn't have to share that. Super valuable in how he's delivering his program. So if we jump forward a year from when you joined the program, we just met for the first time in person like a year later, right? Just short of a year later. So we'd never met in person. We were always Zooming it. And we met for the first time in person at our first ever Boss Coaches Mastermind up here in Scotland. And you drove all the way up on it was your daughter's birthday that day. Is that right?
I left on the Thursday, which was in the morning, which was my daughter's 5th birthday. Yeah.
Right. So it was your daughter's birthday. You spent some time and then you drove up the road and we had some amazing times. I'm going to ask you just a few questions about that. Something I do want to bring up because it was really funny. Just as the mastermind had ended, I know you know what I'm going to talk about here. Just as the mastermind had ended, in this mastermind house was this weird cooker that I did not know how to work. So all the mastermind clients are gone. There's me, Louise, Kiefer, and Lawson there, just the 4 of us. And Louise is wanting to like fry an egg, but we have a gas cooker at home. And there's this, you can tell us in a second what type of cooker it is. It was like an alien cooker to us. And anyway, right, we didn't even know how to turn this thing on. So Tom's driving all the way from Scotland back down to Essex. And I'm like on the blower to him and I'm like, dude, how do you fry an egg on this cooker? We've got your like video thing, didn't we? We were like pointing it at the cooker and
Yeah, I remember that. It was a cracking weekend, but like, yeah, that did. When I got off the phone to you, and I think I was somewhere in between. I was near York, I think,
Yeah.
when you phoned, and I was like, "This is too funny." Like, I thought you were ringing because I left something, or whatever. Actually, how do you work the cooker?
What type of cooker was it?
It's an induction hob, a halogen induction hob.
Halogen.
And the thing is, like, I mean, if you haven't used one, like I fortunately have, my in-laws have got one. We've just had one installed in our house. If you've used it, you know how to do it. But when you don't, I can, even though it's kind of quite funny, this whole scenario, I can totally understand why you'd be like, what the hell is this?
Right. So you came up to the mastermind, you got presented with your 10K in 30 days trophy, and then you left and you taught us how to fry an egg, which was really nice. So, I mean, like, let's not dwell on it too much, but tell us a little bit about the mastermind. Not so much about like what we were delivering and stuff, but you also got to meet a lot of your fellow peers in there as well, like Joe and Wales and Naomi and Johnny, like Conic, like all those. You got to meet those guys. Like, give us just a quick blurb on like what the mastermind was like for you.
The mastermind was amazing, and like I know I saw my daughter in the morning, and but I said to my wife, I was like, I need to be there. It's going to be really valuable. It's going to be really important, and it's going to help me massively. And so we figured out between us, how it was going to work. And even my wife suggested, she was like, just we'll do presents in the morning and then just go up and get there so you're not tired, and then you can focus fully on the days. But it was amazing, and it was great meeting everybody in person for the first time, especially when we'd spent the best part of the whole year on Zoom talking to each other, getting to know each other. And it was kind of, Naomi summed it up really, really well, actually. It was literally just like a family, or a really close knit of friends who had not seen each other through COVID, who all of a sudden saw each other. I think those are the words she used to describe it. And I think she was spot on, because especially with Joe and Naomi, because we're all in platinum together and we all have a good laugh, we all get on, but we all like support each other. It was just amazing. And obviously meeting you and Louise in person as well. You are taller than what I thought you'd be, and I'm shorter than what you thought I was. So that's cool. It works in roundabouts. But the whole weekend was just, it was a roller coaster of emotions. I think you summed that up pretty well. We covered so much stuff, and we had a lot of eye-opening and moments, and moments of like, wow, like that's cool. But just sort of being in that environment, I've been to quite a few events before in my life, with different things, but I think because of it was quite intimate, it was really quite cool, and it was just it was a really great location. It was delivered amazingly. There was so much value, and I left. I was pumped driving up, but I left even more pumped coming back down. My head, as I was driving down, I actually had to put an audio book on to basically stop my mind from going, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But yeah, it was wicked, and it kind of really helped me, especially with my business, the back end of last year and getting ready for this year made me even more prepared for what I'm doing and coming into this year. But it was a great weekend, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it was great. It was great to hang with you, not just to help us fry the egg, but it was it was it was great to hang with you all and meet you all for the first time. And I think it was also great as well for Louise, but also for you guys as well, where obviously I'm the strategy guy, but then you also all have this qualified psychotherapist and psychologist as well, who, when sometimes you don't need my strategic help, for anybody who's watching this who runs a business, you guys will know that sometimes our biggest enemy is ourself up here. And no matter any amount of strategy, we just can't reframe things. This is why we have a specialist at Boss Coaches that deals with this. So we'll just share this very quickly. So you guys have one-to-ones with me each week, but sometimes we switch it. So if there's some mindset stuff going on, sometimes you guys can see Louise as well, right? So I think it was really good to meet also your performance coach as well, and for her to also meet you guys and see how you ticked, and like how you couldn't how you can move your business forward for this year, 2023, which is going to be absolutely insane. So yeah, it was amazing. Answer me this, dude, if it's okay. I'm a health practitioner, a fitness expert inside of this group or outside of this group. And I'm either thinking about going online, I just don't know how to transition as a side hustle initially, or take that leap and go full online. I might even have been burned before by other things or whatever else. What words have you got to say to me about what to do, like what steps to take? Doesn't have to involve us at Boss Coaches, but just what steps to take. And if there is anything you want to share about us, then feel free, but just an honest opinion.
If you're thinking about going online, like I said, I've been thinking about this since like 2016, and I just wasn't sure how to do it. Do your research. Know who you want to target. I think one of the best things that few people have said to me, and I think you have as well, Rob, in some way, shape, or form, is that if you work in a gym or something to that effect, your pool, your sea is a small one, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a lot easier. Mm-hmm. When you go online, you're in a massive ocean.
Yeah,
and you can't go with the big trends, with the big company. You just can't go toe to toe with them because they are too big, and they have a much bigger reach financially and just as big a reach with the way they market. So make sure that you have your niche, your avatar nailed down, that you know what it is that the people that you want to serve, the people you want to coach, the people you want to help. But also seek the right advice from the right people who have been there and done it, can prove it, but also back it up with actually caring and helping for you. And I'm not just saying this because I'm on here with Rob and I've been doing his program for a year. I've spent thousands on different programs, and none of them have given me and helped me as much as Rob and Louise have at Boss Coaches, without a shadow of a doubt. And if you were sat on the fence and you really wanted to do online, in fact, I had a conversation about 2 months ago with a guy in the old gym I used to work at, and he wanted to transition online. And I just said to him, go for it. If you really want to do it, go for it. What is actually stopping you? But just make sure that you get the right advice and you think about it properly. Don't go gung-ho with it and be sporadic, have a strategy, have a plan. And yeah, I mean, me joining Boss Coaches was one of the best decisions I made. It's given me so much more beyond the 10K months. It's given me so much more confidence in myself. Chats with Louise that I've had to help my mindset and to help me think bigger, think better about myself and my worthiness, as it were, and like kind of how I feel about all that. And I've had a few obstacles with that last year.
Louise is smashing the love heart button for you right now.
Thanks, Louise. But also then just the strategies. And what's great is you always give us the most up-to-date thing that can work. And like, you know, you have the elite program is fantastic in all the information, all the strategies that it gives you. Platinum is another level, and I'm so glad that I just went, yes, sod it, 2 months, sod it, let's just do it, because it's been one of the best years of self-learning, but also self-development, and just actually getting the belief that I can achieve what I want to achieve. And, you know, my next belief, I said this right at the end of 2022. I think I took Louise, but if she's still watching this, I took Louise back a little bit, and Naomi and Joe at the same time, I think. But I went, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this in 2023. And it's just, you know, that whole belief system is there because of it. But yeah, if anyone's thinking of doing it, there's no reason why you can't. If you're sat on the fence about Boss Coaches as a program, elite, then honestly, it'll be one of the, if you stick to your side of the bargain and work at it,
yes,
there is no reason why you cannot achieve what you want to achieve. And it is a fantastic program, without a shadow of a doubt. It is. And I'm not just saying that because Rob's here and I'm talking to Rob about it. It has been one of the best programs I've ever done.
Dude, just sitting here and listening to you say that, first of all, like, thank you for saying that, because that's our intention, is to deliver that. Like, I think it's safe to say, like, if we're all being honest as coaches, sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes we can't always guarantee results for our clients, so the pressure is always on us. For any gurus that are out there right now promising to make everybody a gazillion bucks, it doesn't happen. It's a two-way street. And our coaching is only as good as how coachable you are. So, the mentor shows up when the mentee's ready, right? So, like, you were ready to be coached. You were coachable, you still are coachable. So I'm going to go on record and say this, because we've got this on record. We're now in 2023, and I don't know what point of this year, but I know that by the end of this year, you'll be picking up your 100K award. I know you will, without a shadow of a doubt. And you also seen somebody else at the mastermind, 2 people at the mastermind collecting their 100K award. So you're going to want to get into that 6-figure club, and you deserve to be there. So I can't wait to see that happen for you. I really can. I think it's going to be amazing. And then we chase the next goal, the next goal, the next goal. So, dude, you're a model client. You really are. So thanks for being such a great client. Thanks for keeping trusting us and continuing to do what you do, and just creating that ripple effect for your clients, because that's why we're doing this, right? This is why we're in this health and fitness space. We're here to create that ripple effect for our clients to change their lives. And as a byproduct, we get paid handsomely. But that's not the main reason. The main reason is to make an impact in other people's lives. And that's what you're doing right now. So, dude, congratulations on like your success so far. Congratulations on making such a big impact. And I cannot wait for our year together in 2023. It's just going to be epic.
Thank you, Rob. And thank you, both you and Louise, for everything. Anyway, it's been amazing. I really am excited for this year.
I know you can't see the live stream right now, but you got no idea Louise is like that on the Love Hearts. She's like that. She's she's a massive fan of yours and what you do. So she's like smashing it like crazy. So listen, if anybody wants to ask any questions and anything, we're not going to hang here, but if anybody wants to ask any questions and anything whatsoever, whether you're watching this inside the group, myself or Tom would be happy to answer them. If you're watching it on a replay as part of a funnel or somewhere else, then again, reach out to me personally. Tom's a busy guy, so don't go reaching out to him unless he wants you to, but he's busy. Like, let us know. Let us know if you have any questions and anything whatsoever, and we'll be happy to help you. But Tom, once again, dude, thank you so much for your time. It's been amazing so far. Cannot wait to see where this journey goes for 2023.
Thanks for having me on, Rob. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Man. Speak soon.